Hey everyone, welcome to our podcast, Money Matters. In today's episode, we will be talking about finance in today's world. My name is Daniel, and I'm here today with Kieran, and we will be diving into this topic today because we really do feel that it is super important to understand and just have the knowledge in general about finances. So we appreciate you joining us today. We really appreciate you clicking on this video. We are super excited to talk about something we think is super important in today's world. Kieran, do you have anything to say to the audience?
Yeah, so we're very passionate about finance, money, and just how money works in today's world. And let's be completely honest, whether we like it or not, adulthood is slowly creeping up on us.
Absolutely.
And we're going to need to adapt and just learn how to manage our money, make better financial decisions, and just basically try not to go broke. And the truth is, most of us don't really get taught enough about money. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I agree a lot with that. I feel like I mentioned already a few times, that it is super important to have the knowledge to manage and just understand finances. So we are going to be breaking that down today. We'll talk about global financial challenges, how young people can get into finance early, the jobs that AI will not steal, and how to manage your money smartly at such a young age and in general as well. By the end of this episode, we really have this goal set to just inspire, really impact you and other young people in this generation. Not in a scary way, but in a way that sets you up for the future. So I feel like we should head on to the first segment.
Yep.
All right, so for the first segment, we will be talking about global financial issues. So let's start on with the big picture. What is going on in today's world?
Right, so obviously, there's many global financial issues that the world is facing right now. One of the biggest and most apparent ones for a long time now is inflation. Prices pretty much for everything, so that's food, housing, transportation, they've gone up drastically.
Yep.
You've probably heard your parents say something like, this used to cost half the price when I was a kid, but now your age, it's twice. And yeah, they're not wrong, but this is just inflation. It's how inflation works. Even a simple grocery run now is much more expensive than it used to be. Buying a house seems impossible in this housing market.
Yep.
I mean, it's just crazy. And even a tank of fuel costs almost double what it did a couple years ago.
And people really like feel that pressure for sure. Each grocery run, each fill up for their gas tank, that is just stress that piles up onto the normal person.
Exactly.
They really feel that pressure. And I feel like with time passing each day, I feel like inflation will get worse.
Yeah,
and with that, a lot of people will not be able to survive in their financial situations. That's.
And what's worse is that this inflation is continuing, yet the salaries are just staying the same.
Yep, that's also a huge part. Yeah, a full gas tank last month, for example, was $60. Next month it will be $70 because of inflation, but your salary is still the same. Your monthly salary is absolutely still the same. And that also does pressure people even more.
Yeah, then you find a way to deal with it somehow.
Absolutely. Another issue is unemployment and job insecurity. Not necessarily because people don't want to work, but because simply jobs are changing. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, jobs are definitely much different from how they were 5 or even 10 years ago. AI and automation of jobs is definitely something which is up and coming right now. It's taking over tasks that humans used to do, which means that the job market looks completely different from what it was like 5 or 10 years ago. Like, it has nothing in common. Plus, there's like a shortage of a certain type of workers, and there's some which can't just find enough people.
Yeah.
And there's obviously others which are just being replaced. And so we need to find a way to handle and adapt to this sort of situation, because as AI is growing and becoming more developed, jobs are just going to keep on becoming more and more replaced.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you mentioned the ability to adapt. I feel like adaptivity is super important in these situations and in these global, financial issues. If you are able to adapt in certain situations in today's world, I feel like nothing will be a problem for you. People are switching careers more often, working multiple jobs, freelancing, just in general, making different side hustles for them to just survive in today's world financially, which is exactly why learning finance is so important, and why it is important for young people to understand how to manage finance. So we will be heading on for the next segment to understand how young people can get into finances at such an early age.
Okay, so we're young. What can we really do, right? So, that's what many people ask themselves. But
Yeah.
in reality, we can actually do a lot, even though we're small.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can get started with some things that you could do to kind of get into finances at an early age.
Sure, yeah. So financial literacy is something super important here that should be mentioned. This means understanding the basics, like how to create a budget, how to save, how to avoid overspending, and how to invest. I feel like those are a few key basics that everybody should understand when diving into finance early. Even something like tracking your spending can change everything. Most people with their spending just keep on spending and spending and spending, and when they really open up their bank account or just like their cash, they see that they've just been going crazy.
Yeah.
They've been spending crazy, and they're not writing down whatever they're giving and spending. So that could really help you out in today's financial situation. So why do you think it is important to start early?
Well, obviously, you need to be financially literate because, as I said at the beginning, we're getting closer to adulthood, and knowing how to deal with money now is gonna help us hit the ground running once we get to that point where we need to handle our finances on our own once we're not under our parents' roof anymore. And because money grows over time, the earlier you learn, the fewer mistakes you're gonna make later. So when you understand money young, you avoid the typical traps, which is just that overspending, as Danny mentioned, and just living paycheck to paycheck, which can be awful for some people. And sadly, it's most of people's reality is nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's also a thing called teen entrepreneurship. Something like starting small online businesses, freelancing, selling digital products, tutoring, or just doing graphic design, for example. Something that really inspires you and you just have the intention to do and develop into. I feel like also just going on to your neighbor's house, knocking on their door and saying, "Hey man, I really just want to mow your lawn for you today, and you could just give me something." Yeah. So what do you think about that teen entrepreneurship? Do you think it's super important or not really?
I feel it's gonna make you more independent in the long term. You understand that money doesn't grow on trees, that what it takes to actually make money and how difficult it can be in some situations. So you don't necessarily have to do sort of the traditional, go work as a servant or something. You could, as Danny said, go to your neighbors, just knock, ask if they need any services around the house, whether it's cleaning windows, mowing gardens. And even if you're not interested in that sort of more physical thing, you can
start an online business.
Yeah, an online business.
Or some digital product.
Exactly. Or just give small amounts into an index fund. You don't need thousands to start. You could just invest 10 or 20 euros for like a certain amount of time. So once every week, you put in 10 euros and another 10 the next week. And over time, you're going to see that compounds and actually does, bring you a lot of money in the long term, which is a very good sort of habit to have. Putting away some money to put into savings or an investment account. I think it's very important.
Absolutely, yeah. And also, another super important thing is consistency.
Exactly, yeah.
Being consistent in saving and investing, at one point, you really do see the change
Mm-hmm.
and the difference. But the most important thing is really understanding how money flows,
Yeah.
whether that's saving, investing, earning, or just scaling your money. So in the next segment, we will be talking about how important it really is to see that flow, that cash flow, and to really understand how to manage and where to put your money. All right, for the next segment, we will be talking about how to manage your finances and be smart with your money. So let's talk about something everyone here can start doing from today, managing your own money. Let's start with investing. What do you think about investing in today's world?
Well, to start with, investing means making your money grow over time. So smart investments would include real estate, businesses, or just diversified stocks and just having a more diversified portfolio of investment. If you're investing into something, even market options like index funds also. And obviously the goal is simple. Don't keep all your money in cash. Have a sort of a diverse portfolio. So not just
Yep.
cash, but having assets in stocks or whatever. Because cash loses value over time because of inflation, and yet the money that you're gonna put into your index fund won't. It's gonna gradually grow over time.
Yeah, so as you talked about, inflation is a huge global financial issue, and cash really does lose value over time with inflation. So it really is important to put your money into something that could fluctuate to the positive side, and really could make you in a good financial situation. So next is saving. You can save through trust funds, retirement funds, or even just basic saving accounts. But like we mentioned, the key is consistency. Even saving a small percentage, or even if it's each month or each year, at one point it adds up and it really does show that difference.
Right.
So yeah, consistency is something super important. Another method that I love to mention, or like these like financial rules that me or other people follow. A rule that I could mention here is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to your needs, 30 to your wants, or 20 to investing or saving. What do you think about that rule?
Well, I agree. It's a pretty good rule because you obviously kind of separate your income into investing into what you need, and then obviously money that you need to survive with. So it's food, rent, or everything that comes under that sort of category. It's a very good rule because it's actually very good for just being able to separate your money into
Budgeting.
Yeah, just budgeting. It helps you avoid overspending.
Yeah.
Make sure your money grows over time, and obviously the earlier you start doing this, the better, because you get used to it more and more as you grow up, and it just becomes easier to do.
Absolutely, yeah. So with that said, we're going to be going on to the next segment about career paths that won't be affected by that new technology you mentioned, artificial intelligence. So let's head on straight to that. All right, so for the next segment, we will be talking about career paths that won't be affected by new technology. Earlier, we mentioned in the segment about global financial issues that artificial intelligence is really taking on over the world. I feel like that is a huge part in careers today, and it should be talked about for sure. So let's talk careers. What do you think about that?
Well, obviously AI is very powerful nowadays, but some can't fully replace jobs that require strategic thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, or just high-level decision making. Jobs which require this sort of skill base would be investment banking, asset management, private equity, and then trading and investment analysis, because these are just things that require both human emotion intelligence, which
Judgment.
yeah,
Yep.
and judgment as well, which AI just can't do.
Yeah, so with these careers, AI, I feel like, does not have all the traits that a human does. I feel like with these specific careers, judgment, negotiation, human relationships, and just basic decision making is
Right.
something super important. And AI, not in all cases, has that. So I feel like with these jobs, AI will not be able to take over. So we talked about the skills for these careers. We talked about the strong communication, analytical thinking, problem solving, math and financial knowledge, as well as the ability to work under pressure. Why do you think these simple traits really matter in today's careers, and why do you think that AI just would not be able to comprehend with that?
Well, as we know, AI isn't conscious, so it doesn't have emotions like we do. It can only imitate them.
Yep.
And since we have a sort of advantage with that, we can have a much better communication base with our clients, if we're say investment bankers.
Yep.
Much better than AI would.
Absolutely.
Our analytical thinking is much different than AI's one. It doesn't have the same critical thinking that we do, and obviously we can't really compare with mathematical and financial knowledge the way AI can. So we have to compensate with the fact that we have emotional intelligence, something that AI just can't compensate for, and these jobs are something that it's necessary to have in. And another thing I want to ask you about is what do you think about the educational path you need to have towards getting into these sort of jobs that are safe from AI?
Yeah, so I feel like the educational path is pretty important in jobs and careers like this. Stuff like finance, business, economics, accounting, or just simple mathematics, I feel like is super important to have in order to be able to take on jobs like this and careers like
Do you
this.
think you need a degree for something like this?
No, I do not. I do not think that you are in need to have a degree. You can still break into finance with different certifications, experience,
Right.
or just by building skills online. We mentioned experience in a previous segment. Experience is pretty important. So I feel like a degree is not needed in today's world for these careers. Yeah. So we talked about a few topics under finance in today's world. I feel like we should head on to summarizing this episode.
Okay, so let's wrap things up. We talked today about many topics. We talked about global financial issues. We talked about how young people can start getting into finance earlier, jobs that are safe from AI, and how to manage our money smartly. And at the end of the day, finance isn't obviously just about money. It's just about freedom, stability, and just not having that mental pressure of am I gonna be able to pay my rent this month? Am I gonna be able to cover my gas, my electric bills?
Being prepared for the future.
Just being prepared for the future. And
I not only me, but Kieran as well. We really hope that we gave you something useful to think about, and we'd love to hear from you, your experience, your feedback, and some other topics that we could talk about in the near future. So we appreciate you listening. Do you have anything else to say to the audience?
Yeah, so we'd really appreciate if you guys could just put down some comments and ideas of what our next podcast should be on, and whether you liked the information we gave, if you thought anything was wrong, or just let us know. Feedback is only going to affect us positively. So we're super happy that we had the opportunity to make this podcast, and we hope that really helped you guys. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Never run away from the money.